All right, Israeli officials have responded to claims of mistreatment of Greta Thunberg and other global Sumud Flotilla activists, calling the allegations brazen lies. The Foreign Ministry stated that all detainees' legal rights are fully upheld and noted that Thunberg and others refused to expedite their deportation. Meanwhile, Spain said that 21 of the 49 citizens detained in Gaza aid flotilla to leave Israel today, and the flotilla intended to deliver humanitarian aid to Gaza was intercepted by Israeli forces in international waters on the 1st of October. And amongst the 317 detained were prominent figures, including activists and politicians. Spain summoned Israel's charge d'affaires to condemn the action, emphasizing the peaceful nature of the mission. The government is coordinating with other countries to ensure the safe return of all citizens, intensifying diplomatic tensions and calling for respect of international law and humanitarian rights. Ahmed is still with us on the broadcast. Ahmed, first question from the first story that we just spoke about. When there is, a consensus over a peace plan, and there is also a conversation taking place between Israel and Hamas towards the peaceful return and the safe return of hostages, why do you think Israel is still bombing Gaza?
Nothing can explain that except brutality and cruelty of the Israeli occupation and its complete racism and hatred to the Palestinian people that look at the Palestinian people as subhuman beings who does not reserve life or rights or to live free like all other nations. And that is entrenched deeply in the Zionist ideology, which look at Palestine as their only land, and they could do with it whatever they like. And that is a catastrophe by itself that requires from the world to discuss this later on after this madness and this genocide stops, to discuss that this ideology is extremist and fundamentally racist and supremacist in its essence and need to be revised by the international community and you need to be revised within the Israeli society. What is the point from killing children in the last moments when we know there is a peace deal, when we know that these attacks has no value, either politically, either militarily, and we know too well that Hamas accepted to give up the hostages. So it is killing for the sake of killing. And this must be, Israel must be held accountable for these crimes. Enough of this criminality. For 77 years, Israel is doing such crimes. The world was silent or was ignorant about it for a long period of time. Now we have the age of technology and information and everybody can see. So therefore, in order to preserve our rule-based system, to preserve our conscience and to preserve our humanity, Israel must be held accountable for these crimes against humanity. Those who give decisions and order must be prisoned and sent to The Hague. After this genocide, there must be a cycle and a process of correction and accountability for what happened. In any side, in both sides, we Palestinians are willing to uphold and for centuries, for decades, that the international community to bring investigations and to investigate war crimes for both sides, and whoever is guilty to go to the court. But Israel, of course, refused because they know too well that they are the war criminal that will be held accountable the most.
Ahmed, what do you think is going to happen once the hostilities are going to cease? Do you think that both the countries are going to go back to the way things were before October the 7th? Or do you think there is a new blueprint now after Israel has waged this war against Hamas for, almost 2 years?
Now the world is awakened and the world is aware of the crime and the magnitude injustice that the Palestinian people are suffering. What needs to be done after October 7 is an actual peace, is a just and final peace. Without achieving that peace based on the two-state solution, without the Palestinians achieving their independence, there will never be peace. Every nation after World War I and World War II got their independence and the right to self-determination except the Palestinians for 77 years. And if we count the British imperialism, colonialism, that would be 108 years under occupation and colonialism. Enough is enough. We have to admit the fact. If we are after peace, stability, and to bring prosperity to the region and coexistence, then the Palestinian people deserve and have the natural right to live like all other nations and to live in peace within an independent state and a sovereign independent state, and with the right of Palestinian refugees to return. Without addressing these vital issues, without pushing into a solution for these issues, there could not be peace. If there is occupation, there is always will be a legitimate call for resistance. If Israel wants security on its borders, if Israel wants peace, then they have to lift their siege, end their occupation, end their apartheid, and to look at Palestinian people as equally human beings, not as subhuman beings, like their leaders speak in the parliament and the government. The peace must be within a framework based on the two-state solution, and what came from the declaration of the New York two-state conference in October, and followed by the World Summit for the Question of Palestine in September, the entire world, almost the entire world, come to a conclusion that we need a Palestinian state where they could express their identity, their heritage, and have all the rights like all other nations around the world. Israel vetoed this legal and reasonable and justful solution and want an endless escalation, an endless state of occupation and occupy. I hope the United States would realize that if we are after peace, if we are after reasonable diplomacy, then the two-state solution is a must, and the Palestinian has to express their identity through an independent government represented by the legitimate authority, which is the PLO, and to transition from an authority to a state. We have the recognition right now about 160 countries. More were willing to recognize. So we are talking about more than 82% of the world recognize the state of Palestine, except United States, Israel, and a few other countries. And that is, they don't have the right to veto or block the Palestinians from achieving their rights.
Fair enough. Ahmed, I appreciate your perspective and your passion. Thank you so much for speaking to us. Moving on.